Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to the car. I got a request to talk about the Mozilla situation, so this is the video about that. Now, I don't normally comment on current events, but I figured we can try it out. So, earlier this week, Mozilla announced that they are letting go 250 people, which is about a quarter of their staff. And a lot of the core engineering people are affected. So people working on Firefox, Servo, the MDN documentation website team, all kinds of people are affected, really. Like it's 250 people. And there's been a lot of discussion on the web about this. Like, what does it mean for the future? Future of Mozilla, future of the web, future of browsers. And it's all pretty sad, right? And there's a blog post on the Mozilla blog, if you can read sleazy corporate language. I don't. It's not something I like reading. I did not enjoy reading that blog post. It was very sleazy, but I guess it's good to read it from the source still. Now, what do I think about this whole thing? I guess the first thing I'll say is I've never worked at Mozilla. And nor have I worked on any Mozilla software, but I have been in the browser industry for a very long time, and I do know some things about that. So I personally find this super duper sad. I think Mozilla is a very, very important engine these days, because really there are three remaining major browser engines that are relevant right now. It's WebKit, Firefox or Gecko, WebKit, Firefox, and Blink, right? Because a lot of previously great browsers like Edge or Internet Explorer and Opera, they just gave up basically and adopted Chromium as their engine. And this is something I think is really depressing and pathetic, but it is what it is. So today we have three major relevant engines, and it's concerning, really, really concerning to see one of those three major engines lose funding and lose staffing like that. And who knows what will happen, right? And I think every day, if I go, when I go out and check Twitter every day, there are people fighting like browser-related war. You have these two factions, right? Like the extreme feature creep people who want to put like 10 new specs into the browser every month, add all kinds of capabilities and things. And then you got the other extremists who want to remove all the web technologies and just turn your browser into a Gopher client, and have like a text-based interface. And it's a spectrum in between all that, but I feel like people are just bitching and fighting about this constantly every day, and it's kind of clear to me, at least, that there's like a very, very strong Apple centric camp where the focus is on privacy primarily, and perhaps performance secondarily, and then you have sort of the Google camp, which is features, capabilities, and as the main focus. They just want to basically like make the web the new platform, and they're like in direct competition with native applications. And personally, I'm very deep in the Apple camp on that issue, but it's I understand that it's good to have multiple camps, because then you can have an argument and meet somewhere in the middle. You don't want to have a monoculture, right? And I think maybe like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, there was this big talk about the WebKit monoculture, right? And it was big scare blogs about it. and trying to encourage people to use Firefox back then, because if we don't use something other than WebKit, then it's all just going to be WebKit. And for some reason, all that propaganda has kind of disappeared. And nowadays, it's more memes about like, ho, Safari is the new IE6. As if that even makes sense, right? Like, do people remember IE6 and ActiveX applets and things like that? And Microsoft putting wherever they felt like into the browser and ignoring other vendors. I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting off track. We're here to talk about Mozilla, right? So Mozilla has had a very important role here because they've been a third camp that, they sometimes they side with the feature mad people, and sometimes they side with the privacy people, and it's good to have that force, like I'm sure there's a word for that. That force that picks between the two camps and like chooses the direction sometimes. I know there's some word for that, for whatever. It's a bummer to see that fading. But at the same time, though, like I have to say that, and I don't mean this to sound harsh, but I do feel like we should all have seen this coming with Mozilla, because at least from the outside, it really looks like they've been putting their eggs in one basket, the same basket, year after year, and that's the Google search money basket. Now, I don't know this personally, right? But I read somewhere that they have a 9-figure deal with Google, where Mozilla sends search traffic to Google and Google pays Mozilla for this. And I don't know if that's true or accurate, but I am aware of similar deals with other browsers that Google has, where there's just a filthy amount of money in search. Like, you don't understand how much money there is in search and how much Google will pay you if you send search their way. It's ridiculous. And Mozilla has been enjoying substantial money rolling in from that, right? Year after year. And it's understandable that they would get comfortable with that stream of money just rolling in all the time. And I think it's probably not healthy that I imagine that there was basically, it didn't really make a difference if they made their product better or worse, as long as they kept like delivering search to Google by whatever metrics that their deal hinged on. Then the money will keep coming in, right? So they could like spend money on all kinds of whatever projects, and it didn't matter as long as they sent the searches to Google. Money was coming in. So there's probably been I don't know this personally for sure, right? But I imagine there's been a disconnect between what the engineers were working on and how much money was coming into Mozilla. And there's probably been a disconnect there for a really long time. And I don't think that that's very healthy for any organization to exist like that, right? You want to have some kind of you want to have some ability to affect the outcome of your situation, right? And I mean, I suppose they had some ability, right? Because more Firefox market share meant that they could send more searches to Google, but that was essentially all of it. I don't know. Oh, lights out. Can I get the lights back on, maybe? Oh, hello. But I don't know. I don't want to talk out of my ass because I don't know Mozilla internals, right? So, wow, it's really, really bright suddenly. I don't know Mozilla organization internal, so I don't want to say too much about that, but it is sad. Um, and I do personally think that's not the right way to run an engineering organization. You want to have um, like normal, healthy. Oh, wow, music starting. You want to have normal, healthy incentives for people to do better, so that if you do better work, then more money comes in. If you do worse, then less money comes in. Um, I'm sure somebody could say this in a smarter way than I'm saying it right now, but you get the idea. But I'm sad about this. I am sad because we need that. We need some third force in the browser engine arena, because browser engine diversity is the only diversity that matters in web browsers. Seriously, like I don't care about Edge or Opera or Brave or any of these like pathetic fake browsers. That's just Chromium. Come on. Um, and I don't know what will happen. I think if it's like if all we were left with is Apple and Google duking it out, that's not going to end well for any of us. Um, and as much as I trust, and I really do trust my former coworkers at Apple with this, I do know that they have um, the end user's interest at heart, something which is uh, very deeply embedded in the Safari team and the WebKit team. And actually, like, so I say this sometimes, and people don't really understand what I mean by that. But as an example, like when I was working on WebKit, I remember getting into arguments with people about like accidentally logging a URL to syslog, because that URL might end up in a like this. If you make what's it called, a sysdiagnose on your machine, where like it just captures the recent logs and then can send in like a as an system error report to customer support or whatever, then we really shouldn't have logged a URL anywhere, because then it might end up in the hands of customer support, so somebody could see what you've been browsing. And it was just like a printf statement somewhere with a URL in it, and there was like a big deal, and we had to remove that. Like basically like not have debug statements that include the URLs. And this kind of stuff, people take that kind of stuff extremely seriously. And that's just debug print statements. And it goes from the lowest level of like even the debugging has to respect privacy, all the way up to the high level features have to respect privacy. And that's really important. I don't know why I'm talking about that so much. It's just really important. um, but it is sad what happened at Mozilla. And I'm sure that they could have been a lot smarter with their money and with their organization. But at this point, it's just really sad, right? Like there's no point in trying to say, oh, you should have done this or that. I just hope that they can somehow get themselves going in a good direction and hopefully somehow recover. I I really hope I will say I really hope that they don't start to get into like this completely nonsense businesses like selling VPN and garbage like that. Like That's so trashy, seriously. But I hope they find a way to actually be Mozilla and survive. I don't know if it's possible. We'll see. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I it's sad. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Firefox is going to survive? What do you think it will look like a year from today? 2 years from today? Do you think they'll be able to focus on the right features and keep up with the development of the web platform? Because I really don't know. We'll see. Anyways, those are my thoughts. So thank you for hanging out with me in the car, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.